Hare Krishna, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. My Dandavat pranams to everybody. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Welcome to another reading of Jaiva Dharma, and we're into the 31st chapter today. So today is Saturday, the 13th July 2024, and we're streaming from Godrum Dweep in Navadvip, Goradam. So we'll have a kirtan and then we'll begin. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Aradhikaya Priyatmane Shri Shri Mad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavari Paschatya Shatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Gaura Prasthaya Bhutale Shri Shri Mad Bhakti Pragyana Keshaviti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Oh Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe, Jai Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Shri Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Shishi Guru Garanga Ganhabhaga Giridhari Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai Bharishabhalanandini Bhajeshwari Radharani Ki Jai Jai Nityananda Rai Ki Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Surabhi Kunj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astol Tarzara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarzara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarzara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarzara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaura Kishodas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Baladevi Dibhushan Gaudi Varantaracharya Ki Jai Jai Rasik Sirumani Srila Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Treya Ki Jai Jai Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Baladasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai Arupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Jai Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gauda Parsada Ki Jai Namacharya Shrilaharas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sigahol Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Shri Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Antadvip Mayapur Simantadvip Gautamdvip Madhyadvip Koladip Ritudvip Janadvip Modandvip Rudradvip Atmaka Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dwarasavar Matmika Shri Brajamandal Ki Jai Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund Ganga Jamuna Devi Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shrimati Brinda Devi Maharani Ki Jai Shrimati Yogamaya Paunamasi Devi Maharani Ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Ki Jai Ketra Mandal Ki Jai Sarva Vigna Vanasa Karishina Shingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai Bhakta Prabha Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai Charidam Ki Jai Chari Sampradaya Ki Jai Charyacharya Ki Jai Akara Mat Raj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai Shri Keshav Ji Gaudiya Mat Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagat Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Om Magina Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Shnapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Priya Sarupe Daita Sarupe Prema Sarupe Sahajaga Rupe Nijana Rupe Prabhueka Rupe Tatana Rupe Swavilasa Rupe Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurunavartino Kalo Samarpaitam Unnata Ujjvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundarata Dikadamba Sadipita Sadahridare Kandare Spuratu Vasachinandanaha Yam Prabhajantamanapetyam Apeti Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putreti Tammayatayo Taravo Vinedustam Sarvabhutam Munim Ridim Munim Anatoshmi Bhaktya Vina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripamai Tvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charana Ravindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Baradram Tato Mamanasti Katina Kapi Tavai Vasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of dharma pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarzar Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again unto our most beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarzar Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And to our dearmost Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namane Gaura Shakti Swarabhaya Rupanuga Varayate, and to our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Varga and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vancha Kalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Pavnivyo Vaishnavena. So, coming directly to our subject matter of Jaiva Dharma, and we'll invoke Bhaktivinoda Thakur's mercy by chanting the Fal Shruti on page 831, the last 4 verses. Jaiva Dhamma Pateshe Shura Bhakti Hoy Jaiva Dhamma Napadile Kave Bhakti Noy. One who reads Jaiva Dhamma with faithful deliberation will surely attain Shura Bhakti, but one who does not read Jaiva Dhamma can never attain Bhakti. Rupanuga Abhiman Pate Drita Hoy Jaiva Dhamma Vimukha Ke Dharma Hine Koi. Faithfully reading Jaiva Dhamma will shortly strengthen one's Abhiman as a Rupanuga follower of Rupa Goswami. One who is averse to reading Jaiva Dhamma is certainly devoid of religious principles, so our objective is to become a follower of Srila Rupa Goswami. That means absorbing ourselves in all his teachings, which are the teachings of Sachinandan Gaurahari and are the teachings of our entire Guru Varga. So by taking shelter of Rupa Goswami, we are taking shelter of all the entire current of this Bhagirati, this flow of nectar coming from the lotus-like lips and heart of Sachinandan Gaurahari. So it's essential for us to resonate with Rupa Goswami, read his books, hear about him, sing his bhajans, etc. Java Jivane Jai Pada Jaiva Dharma Bhaktiman Se Janabrita Jnana Karma. One who faithfully reads Jaiva Dhamma throughout his entire life will be endowed with bhakti and will surely realize the futility of Gyan and Karma. Krishnera Ramala Seva Labi Senara Seva Sukhi Magnaraha Sada Krishna Para. Such a man, being fully devoted to Sri Sri Radha Krishna Yugal Kishore and having attained their Amal Prem Seva, remains forever merged in the bliss of such immaculate loving service. So this is the prayojan, to remain submerged in the bliss of the immaculate loving service, this Amal Prem Seva. Everything is leading there. So in our Rasa Tattva study, where hearing the step-by-step process of arriving at that place of Amal Prem Seva. And hearing all these subject matters, some of you may be finding it a little difficult just to be patient, just hearing it. But I can remember one story that my Gurudev said many times about Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, that there was a devotee and he was very sick. His digestion was completely messed up totally, and he couldn't even drink water without passing it out. So they took him to an expert Ayurvedic doctor in Calcutta, and he advised them, you give him a spoonful of ghee every day. And the devotees were shocked. They said, he can't even digest water. How can he digest ghee? And the doctor said, no problem, let him pass it, let him pass it, let him pass it. Something will stick. Some impression will get there. So I'm remembering this in relationship to all the different discussions we're having about Rasa Tattva. So they're esoteric subject matters, and they're not always easy to grasp, but something will be there. Just something will be there. And then eventually, with the Lord's mercy, Guru's mercy, Vaishnava's mercy, Dham's mercy, then Nam's mercy, then all of these little truths that we've heard. Because perhaps when I'm reading through, some things will resonate and other things won't resonate, which means we'll have to go back again and read it through again. Many times we'll have to read it. But whatever does resonate is going to be to our absolute advantage, totally. So yesterday we ended up by discussing about Parakiya, and I explained that pastime about Sri Radhika in Pili Puka, rubbing the haldi off her hands. And I also I raised the topic of Parikshit Maharaj at the end of the 33rd chapter, which is the last chapter in the Rasa Panchadhiya. He questions Shukadev Goswami, why did Krishna perform such audacious acts as dancing and touching other men's wives? And I gave a little bit answer, but I'll just give in bullet form the 7 principal reasons that Shukadev Goswami mentions. And I said yesterday something of these, but I'll say a little bit more today, because it's such an important topic. We need to have this doubt completely dispelled in our hearts as the sadhaks, and similarly we need to know how to dispel it in others' hearts that we might meet. So the prime example is that fire consumes everything. Krishna is like fire, so there's no sin in fire. And I gave the example yesterday, you can throw a dead body on a fire and the fire doesn't become contaminated. So Krishna is like that, he cannot become contaminated. And these pastimes are never ever to be imitated. If we try to imitate these, then that is our absolute downfall. There's an interesting pastime in connection with Sankaracharya when he was traveling through the villages with some of his sannyasis, and a Sudrani, a Sudra woman, approached him with a sweet, and he accepted that sweet, and then he looked at all the other sannyasis and then he popped it into his mouth. And the other sannyasis, he could hear what they were thinking. Oh, we can also accept a sweet offered by a Sudrani. No problem, our Guru Maharaj, he has done that, so we can do that. So they walked a bit further through the village and they came to a blacksmith forge where he was melting lead in a little cup over the fire, the heat. And Sankaracharya, he reaches inside and asks the blacksmith, can I have that, those tongs with the lead cup in it? And he just took that with that melted lead and drank it. And then he offered it to the other sannyasis. So they got the understanding, don't try to imitate. It's the same example as Shivji drinking the poison from the churning of the ocean of milk. We are not qualified for that. So we should never imitate. at all, not even in our dreams to think of that. And then the Lord's statements are always pure. These 7 points are covered by Shukadev's response. And there's no selfish motive within the Lord's activities. It's completely free from false ego. He is free from false ego. His Shaktis are free. The gopis are free from false ego. And Krishna lives within all hearts. So Krishna is there within the heart of all living entities simultaneously. So how can he be transgressing something by dancing with those wives? And then these human-like pastimes, they will attract the jivas. So we have this very beautiful verse. We often say, Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusyam deha ashrita bhajate tat rishi kritva yashrutva tat paro bhavet. And this is saying that in order to bestow mercy upon the devotees, as well as the conditioned souls, Bhagavan Sri Krishna manifests his human-like form and performs extraordinary pastimes like the Rasa Leela, that anyone who hears about them becomes exclusively devoted to him. So this is why Krishna is performing these beautiful pastimes, to attract the conditioned souls. And then the final reason that Shukadev gives is that Yoga Maya manifested replica gopis to be with their husbands in the village of Braj. So there was no disturbance socially. Everyone thought that everything was going on as normal. So these reasons we should be familiar with so that we can easily purify anyone else's heart, but in particularly ourselves, that we can become totally freed from doubt. Why is Krishna dancing with other men's wives? Because we're just talking about parakya, upapati and parakya ras. This was the last topic that we discussed yesterday. So we're on to page 647, and we're down towards the bottom. Vijay, kindly tell me about the distinct characteristic of pati. Pati is the husband. Goswami, a pati is one who has accepted the hand of a bride in marriage. This means the ritualistic formal marriage. Vijay, please explain the characteristics of upapati and parakya. Goswami, the upapati is a man who is driven by intense attachment to transgress dharma and accept a parakya as his most dearly beloved. A parakya is a woman who neglects the dharma of this world and the next, transgresses the regulations of marriage, and completely offers herself to a man other than her husband. There are 2 types of parakya, namely unmarried kanya and married proda. Vijay, what are the symptoms of swakya? Goswami, a chaste woman who has been married according to the regulative principles and who is always absorbed in following the orders of her husband is called swakya. This is marital relationship now. Vijay, who are swakya and who are parakya for Sri Krishna? Goswami, the married ladies of Dwarkapuri are swakya, and the young gopis of Braj are mainly parakya. Vijay, where are these 2 types of consort situated in the apricot Leela? So he's asking about the spiritual world now. Goswami, this is a very confidential matter. You know that the domain of the Paratattva comprises 4 quarters. 3 quarters of his opulences, vibhuti, are manifest in the spiritual realm, and 1 quarter is in the mundane realm. Thus, the entire realm of Maya, consisting of 14 planetary systems, is situated in 1 quarter of his vibhuti. The river Viraj lies between the material and spiritual worlds, the world of Maya being situated on this side of it, and the spiritual world on the other. Brahmadam, which is composed of effulgence, surrounds the spiritual world, Chit Jagat, on all sides. Apart from that, when one penetrates beyond the Viraja, the spiritual sky, Paravyam, is seen as Samvyoma Rup, Vaikuntha. There Aishwarya is prominent, and Narayan reigns as the Lord of Lords, attended by unlimited, transcendental, majestic Shaktis. In Vaikuntha, Bhagavan has Swakiya Ras with the Shri, Bur and Nila Shaktis, and the Shri, Bur and Nila Shaktis serve him. These are his three principal Shaktis in Vaikuntha. The Shri is like Lakshmi Dev herself, Bu is that potency of creation, and the Nila Shakti is like his pastime Shakti, or the pastime of destruction. Serve him as Swakiya consorts. Above Vaikuntha lies Golok. In Vrindavan, the Swakiya consorts of the city Pura remain absorbed in their respective appropriate services. In Golok, the young ladies of Braj serve Krishna in their particular ras. Vijay, if Golok is Krishna's highest dham, then why have the wonderful glories of Braj being extolled? Goswami, places such as Braj, Gokul, and Vrindavan are within Sri Mathura Mandal. Mathura Mandal and Golok are non-different from each other, Abed Tattva, they're all the same. When this one phenomena is situated in the highest region of the Chit Jagat, it is known as Golok. And when it manifested within the material universe, it is known as Mathura Mandal. So this Mathura Mandal is there. We call it Mathura, even though Mathura is actually outside of the conception of Braj itself. And I've explained often how my Gurudev gave the example that if you take the whole of the Braj Mandal and imagine if you're looking at a cluster of stars in the sky, and it looks as if you're looking through a telescope, it looks as if all those stars are the same distance from where you're standing. But actually some of those stars are billions of miles further back, and some are very much closer. But they look initially to be all the same. So this is like Mathura is situated in the middle of Braj Mandal, even though Mathura itself doesn't have the same Parakiya Bhav that Braj has. It's only in Vrindavan that Parakiya Bhav reigns splendidly. And when it is manifested within the material universe, it is known as Mathura Mandal. Thus, it is celebrated simultaneously in these two swarups. Vijay, that means in the Prakat and Aprakat. Vijay, how is that possible? I don't understand. Goswami, such phenomena are possible only by Krishna's Achintya Shakti. All the activities within the jurisdiction of Achintya Shakti are beyond comprehension and argument. They're not to be debated about. That's absurd. That eternal abode of Golok is called Mathura Dham in the Prakat Leela, within the world of gross elements, Prapancha. And this very same place is called Golok in Aprakat Leela. So they're both the same. Krishna's transcendental pastimes are eternal, and Golok is eternally manifest in the Nitya Jagat. Those who have become eligible to have darshan of the pure spiritual substance see Golok. Even if you're in Boma Vrindavan, you see Golok. Not only that, but they can have darshan of Golok in Gokul itself. However, the jiva whose intelligence is material cannot attain the darshan of Golok. If there's any conception of material identity, then that's restricted. Even though Gokul is Golok, jivas with mundane intelligence see Gokul as an ordinary place of this material world consisting of 5 gross elements. For example, when we go to Vrindavan, we see pigs in the gutter, etc., and it looks like, It's just a material place. But this is not the reality ultimately of the realized soul. He sees it as non-different to Golok, because they are tattvically exactly the same. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving us the Siddhanta here, the Tattva.
Yogamaya cover.
Yes, Yogamaya covers us individually. Yes, it's covered. Vijay, what is the qualification to have the darshan of Golok? Goswami, Shukadev Goswami has said, Iti sanchintya bhagavan mahakarunako vibhu dasyam sa svam lokam dasyasya sa svam lokam gopanam tamasa param satyam jnanam anantam yad brahmajyoti sanatanam yaddi pashyanti muneyo guna pape samahita. Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 28, 14 to 15. Although the Gopas are eternally perfect, they nonetheless descend to this world as assistants in Krishna's pastimes. The Sadhana Siddha Gopas were the followers of those Nitya Siddha Gopas. These Sadhana Siddha Gopas thought, due to ignorance, the jivas in this world identify themselves with their material bodies. Thus they are hankering with many types of desires, and they engage in various types of work in order to fulfill them. As a result, they wander aimlessly, accepting repeated birth in higher and lower species. We are also engaged in the same activity. So the same activity by these sadhana siddha gopas, the followers in male form, they're doing the same. They're taking the cows out grazing, they're milking them, and they're doing all these apparent material activities. So in humility they are saying like that. They're engaged in the same activity. Considering this, the greatly compassionate Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, who has inconceivable majestic opulence, granted to those Gopas darshan of his Paramadam, Golok, which is beyond the dense darkness of Maya. So yes, that like Yoga Maya or Mahamaya is representing the dense darkness, keeping us restricted. The variety in that Dham is eternal, absolute reality, full of unlimited spiritual pastimes. That Dham is eternally self-illuminated with the effulgence of Brahm, and it is perceived by the hosts of sages and sadhaks through trance in the stage beyond the influence of the three gunas. This is like in Samadhi. Baba, you cannot have darshan of Golok without Krishna's mercy. Krishna bestowed mercy on the Brijvasis and granted them darshan of Golok. So Golok has some Aishwarya, and the Brijvasis went there and they saw Krishna like a very important person and they weren't really impressed. They didn't really like it. This Golok is the excellent transcendental abode beyond material nature, and its variegatedness is the embodiment of eternal truth and endless spiritual pastimes. The spiritual effulgence of the Brahmajyoti exists there eternally as the brilliant radiance, prabha, of his limbs. When the sadhak is free from all mundane connections with matter, he can have darshan of that special tattva. So this is for our contemplation and meditation. Krishna will grant that vision. Vijay, can all liberated personalities have darshan of Golok? Goswami, even among millions of liberated souls, a bhakta of Bhagavan is very rare. In Brahmadam, the jivas who become liberated by the practice of Astanga Yoga and Brahmagyan enjoy forgetfulness of the self, just as a man in a state of deep sleep, Shushipta, remains completely inactive, being bereft of power to perceive, to understand, to desire, and so forth. Similarly, the jivas who attain Brahmadam are oblivious to their own Atma. Actually, it's like spiritual suicide. They just become like a vegetable practically. There's no activity, no sambandha, that's why. So they remain like inanimate lumps in the Brahmajyoti. What to speak of them? These are the liberated souls, because he's asked the question about liberated personalities. This is moksha. This is the cheating, deceptive part. What to speak of them? Even bhaktas absorbed in Aishwarya cannot see Golok. Those who just desire to go to Vaikuntha. Bhaktas with the mood of Aishwarya render service to an opulent form of the Lord in Vaikuntha according to their respective bhavs. Even one who engages in Krishna bhajan in Braj Ras can only have darshan of Golok if he is so fortunate that Krishna bestows mercy upon him and releases him from the Maya's endless bondage. So it's making a very clear point that this is not a simple darshan. This requires complete dedication and the mercy of Krishna through Guru to take us to this vision.
Srila Siddhartha Maharaj, he said, Krishna, it is not sweet candy you can buy in market. It's very cheap, not cheap. It's very
Nice. He gave the example, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj says, Krishna is not sweet candy that you can just buy in the market. No, it requires dedication and diligence and sadhana, perhaps for a number of lifetimes. As I said in the beginning, we're trying to make some impression here. We're taking this and something will stick. My Gurudev used to say so many times to tell us to have this desire, cultivate this desire of Radha Dasyam. We don't have that desire, we're cultivating it. And perhaps in the next life or the next life, this desire will be, if that desire is there at the time of leaving this world, then so much fortune will be ours. Vijay, well, if only this type of liberated bhakta can see Golok, why has Golok been described in Shastras such as Sri Brahma Samhita, Harivamsh, and Padma Purana? If Krishna's mercy is only available through Brajabhajan, what was the point of mentioning Golok? Actually, most people don't go for Golok, they go for moksha. Goswami, those Brajarasik Rama Hari Hari. The internet wires are not in our control. They are beyond. It's all achintya that we're even able to do this. This is actually achintya. So we are in the process of describing the gradations of eligibility to have that darshan of Golok. And it's very, very rare. And I'll just read that sentence again. By Krishna's mercy, their eyes of bhakti are in the process of gradually opening. Thus, there are many grades of eligibility in this group. Some see a little, some see something more, and others see more still. To the extent that Krishna is merciful to them, they will see Golok. As long as they are in the sadhana stage of bhakti, whatever darshan they attain of Golok is tinged with some mayic bhav. After crossing the stage of sadhana and reaching the level of bhav, their darshan is somewhat pure. And when they arrive at the stage of prem, they begin to have darshan to full extent. So on the other side of prem, we come into sneha, man, rag, anurag, etc. Vijay Prabhu, in what respects are Golok and Braj different from each other? Goswami, everything that one sees in Braj is present in Golok. But the various aspects appear somewhat different because of the difference in the nishta of the observer. So they're the same, but they're relatively different according to the person observing. In fact, there is no difference between Golok and Vrindavan. They appear differently to different observers, depending on their different vision. Extremely ignorant people see everything in Braj as material. The vision of a person in Rajagun is somewhat more auspicious compared to this, and those who are situated in Sattva Gun have darshan of Shuddha Sattva according to their ability to see. Everyone's vision is different according to their adhikar. So this is not in black and white at all. This is according to our own practice and prayerful mood. Vijay, Prabhu, I have some realization, but will you kindly give an example to clarify the subject further? A material object cannot serve as a complete example to illustrate spiritual subjects, but still even a partial indication can give rise to a full realization. We've already discussed this point twice before, that the material examples are not fully satisfying, but what else do we have? What's that? Chandranaya Saka. Yeah. Goswami, this is a very difficult problem. We are forbidden to reveal our own confidential realizations to others. When you also have some confidential realization, by Krishna's mercy, you should always keep it hidden. I will explain this subject to you only as far as our previous acharyas have revealed it, and by Krishna's mercy, you will be able to see the rest yourself. So this is basically what we're doing, reading through these. We're just hearing this patiently with submission, and in our own practice, we're going to incorporate whatever we can from these guidelines. Perception in Golok is purely spiritual, and there is not the slightest tinge of material perception. To nourish Ras there, the Chit Shakti has manifested varieties of barbs in many places, and amongst them there is one spiritual conception known as Abhiman. That's the identity. For instance, Krishna has no beginning and no birth in Golok, but to assist the Leela, Vatsalya Ras is personified there by the conception, Abhiman. So Krishna doesn't take birth in Aprakat, Golok, but there is a conception in the Siddhas' minds that he has taken birth, especially to nourish Vatsalya Ras. Mother Yashoda, etc., must consider that he's their baby. That means he must have taken birth. But Krishna actually never takes birth there. This is not an easy topic to understand. But to assist the Leela, Vatsalya Ras is personified there by the conception, Abhiman, in the spiritual existence of fatherhood and motherhood in the forms of Nanda and Yashoda. So Nanda and Yashoda are there in the spiritual realm with the conception that Krishna is their child. And then again, the gopis will have conception that Krishna is their lover, etc. Again, wonderful varieties of Shringar Ras, such as separation, Vipralamba, and meeting, Sambho, exist in this conception, Abhiman. So there's the consciousness of separation, even though there is no separation in Golok. But there's an idea of separation, which will increase the meeting. If there's no Vipralamba, then the Milan is going to be very not so good. Conception form. Although the actual situation in Parakiya Bhav is Shuddha Swakiya, the self-conceptions Abhiman of Paramo beloved, Parakiya and Paramo lava Upadi are eternally present in it. So these are actually like Krishna's eternal Shaktis. But there is a mood that we are not married to him. That's the extraordinary speciality of Boma Vrindavan, the Prakat Vrindavan, is that actually they are married. And Yogamaya has to arrange other wives to replace them, etc. So that's why the Leela is so colorful in Boma Vrindavan, whereas in the spiritual world, there is only the conception that Krishna is my paramour. The reality is that they are Swakiya, that they are already completely, they're Shakti, Krishna's eternal Shaktis. But without that Parakiya mood, the dynamic of the relationship is not going to flourish. Just see, all these Abhiman are completely convincing in Braj. Yes, in Braj, those conceptions become a reality, for they are exhibited in a gross outward form by the potency of Yogamaya. Yes, Yogamaya has manifested all this. For example, in Braj, Yashoda labors to give birth to Krishna in her maternity room, and the Nityasiddha gopis have a parakya abhiman that arises from their marriages to their husbands, such as Abhimanyu and Govardhan Gopa. So Govardhan Gopa is Lalita's, husband.
Yes.
So, but in this world it's a reality, but in that world it's not a reality, but still they have the conception of that. In other words, the Abhiman of Golok are all visible in Braj in very tangible forms, which are managed by Yogamaya from the exceedingly subtle original reality. Yes, it's all reflecting from the original reality. There is not even the slightest trace of falsity within Braj, and it resembles Golok in all respects. Differences in vision arise only according to the degree of material obstruction of the observer. In other words, it's all there, all the time, but the observer, according to his qualification, can see it or not see it. Vijay. Then should one meditate on the appropriate aspects of Astakalya Leela by proper deliberation? Goswami. No, it is not like that. One who has darshan of Braj Leela should remember Astakalya Leela according to his realization. By Krishna's mercy, the Leela manifests itself in the sadhak's heart through the power of his bhajan. It is not necessary to try and improve the bhavs of the Leela by one's own endeavors. You can't crash the gates of heaven, so to speak. It's the gift from the transcendental realm into the heart of the sincere sadhak. We must pray for mercy, pray for mercy, pray for mercy. We see in the history of all the previous great devotees like Srinivasacharya and Narottam Das, etc., when they're like the second generation, they spent their whole life praying for mercy practically. They were going around begging, weeping, crying for mercy from the Vaishnavas. Vijay. Then one should meditate on the appropriate aspects. Oh, I read that. One who has darshan of Braj Leela should remember Astakali Leela according to his realization. By Krishna's mercy, the Leela manifests itself in the sadhak's heart through the power of his bhajan. It is not necessary to try and improve the bhavs of the Leela by one's own endeavors. It's a natural flow from the heart. Nothing fictitious or forced at all, which is like practically foreign to us at the moment. Vijay. Yadrishi bhavanyasya sadir bhavati tadrishi. According to this logic, the perfection that one attains corresponds exactly to the type of meditation performed at the time of sadhana. So it seems that one must perform purified, immaculate meditation on Golok. Goswami, what you are saying is correct. All the perceptions in Braj are pure reality, and not even a single one is contrary to this. Otherwise, there would be a fault. Perfection occurs when sadhana becomes pure, and the purer one's meditation is at the time of sadhana, the faster one attains siddhi. That's a very beautiful way to say the pure. Huh?
What kind of siddhi? What does it mean?
Совершенство.
That means perfection.
Perfection, no.
And there are many stages of perfection according, to our stage. For you, it might be like this. For someone else, it'll be like that, and so on. An increased stage of consciousness. You should endeavor in such a way that your sadhana may be accomplished beautifully, but still it is beyond your power to purify your sadhana. Only Krishna, what is within our power, is our ability to control our minds and to focus and direct them where we are understanding the truth lies, where the sudden bhajan that I should be performing, this we have in our hand. Only Krishna, through his Achintya Shakti, can do this. If you try to do it yourself, you will become entangled in the thorny thickets of Gyan. And we see there are many Gyanis. They know so many different things about Gyan, but they never actually go there. They can say it all, they can point in the directions. I've met many, but they're not actually able to practice it. They're not actually able to enter into the samadhi. But if Krishna bestows his mercy, there will be no injurious result. Yes, we are just hungry for Krishna's mercy. Vijay, today I have become fortunate. I want to ask one further question. Is the abode of the Dwarka consorts only in Vaikuntha or in Golok as well? Goswami, the endless Anand of the Chit Jagat is attained in Vaikuntha. There is no attainment higher than Vaikuntha. Cities such as Dwarka are there, and the young ladies of those cities reside in their own palaces, rendering service to Krishna. The only ones who are situated in the Madhurya Ras of Golok are the Brajramanis. All the pastimes that are in Braj are in Golok. However, it is mentioned in the Gopal Tapani Upanishad that Rukminiji is situated in Swakya Ras in Mathura Puri, which is in Golok. So Rukmini is who? She is actually Chandravali. Just like Satyabhama, she is actually Radharani. So that's a very special tattva. Vijay, Prabhu, do all the activities of Golok occur in the same sequence as I see them in Braj? When he's saying Braj here, he means it's like the Boma Vrindavan.
In Auckland.
Yes, Prakat. Goswami, yes, they all exist in the same order, but without the divisions based on Mayic conceptions. I mean, the demons in Golok also are there in conceptual forms. They believe that Krishna defeated Trinavrata, Putana, Shakatasura, etc., Agasura. They believe he defeated Kaliya. They have the conception, the abhiman of this, fully.
Memory.
Yes, like a sanskar, like an impression. It's an abhiman. It's like an abhiman, yes. They have that conception, but it's not a reality in Golok, because there's only union of Radha and Krishna ultimately. However, all such Mayic conceptions have their own supremely pure spiritual origins, which I cannot explain. So the reflections of the demons, etc., have their spiritual origins. This you can understand only by the power of your bhajan. Vijay, the whole of mundane existence, prapancha, becomes completely dissolved at the time of the universal dissolution, Mahapralaya. So in what sense is Braj Leela eternally present? He's talking about Braj Leela in this world. If it's all destroyed in the Mahapralaya, how can it be eternal? Goswami, Braj Leela is eternal from both the Prakat and the Aprakat perspective. The present conception, Samprataprati, of Braj Leela is eternally existing in one of the unlimited universes, which revolve in a cyclic order like a wheel. So Krishna is always manifesting in some particular universe. A particular Leela now present in one Brahmand appears the next moment in another Brahmand. Thus that particular Leela is Aprakat Leela in the first Brahmand, but it is present in the next Brahmand as Prakat Leela. So it goes from actually happening like Aprakat, and then the next moment it moves to another Brahmand where it's seen by the residents as Aprakat, but in the one where it was previously, then it becomes Prakat. Thus that particular Leela is Aprakat Leela in the first Brahmand, but it is present in the next Brahmand as Prakat Lila. In this way, all types of Prakat Lila are eternal. Even in the aprakat state, all the Leelas are eternally present. We must always understand that point. Vijay, if Prakat Lila occurs in all the Brahmans, does Brajdam exist in each Brahmand? Goswami, yes it does. Golok is a self-manifesting phenomenon, which is present in every universe as the abode of Krishna Lila. Golok also manifests itself in the heart of all Shuddha Bhaktas. Very beautiful to consider. Vijay, why does Mathura Mandal remain manifest in a universe where the Leela is non-manifest? So yes, if the Leela has moved to another Brahmand, why does it appear that, like presently, Krishna's not directly residing in Vrindavan? He's performing his pastimes in another Brahmand. So he's asking, why does Mathura Mandal remain manifest in a universe where the Leela is non-manifest, aprakat? Goswami, the aprakat Leela is eternally present in the Dham, which remains to bestow mercy upon the bhaktas who reside there. So there's an influence that always is there, that eternal, just like here in Goradam. If we go to the Yog Pit today, we can practically sense the presence of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu is certainly here today. This is his eternal Dham. He's always here. He's always manifesting his pastimes. Even though now he's in another Brahmand, performing the same pastimes in another Brahmand. But still, he's here.
Now the Brahman, it is Prakat Lila. And this,
No, another Brahmand in this material world. That whole conception of Mahaprabhu's Leela has shifted to another Brahmand.
and we call this Prakat Lila.
No,
No?
no. In Aprakat Leela,
Prakat.
the Brahmand is billions and billions, unlimited billions of planets. So when Mahaprabhu has concluded his pastimes here, immediately he begins his pastimes in another planet,
Yes.
in this world, in these worlds, in the material worlds, in the aprakat, in the prakat.
Yes, Prakat.
And then that's going on eternally, eternally. The same with Krishna. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has explained this very, very clearly in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also, exactly the same. That Krishna's roadshow is going on eternally. As soon as he's concluding here, he goes to another Brahmand and begins again. And then his pastimes are not manifest here, but still we remember them here. The Aprakat Leela is eternally present in the Dham, which remains to bestow mercy upon the bhaktas who reside there. That day's discussion drew to a close. While returning to his residence, Vijay Kumar repeatedly meditated upon his seva in Astakalya Leela. Thus ends the 31st chapter of Jaiva Dharma entitled Madhurya Ras Vichar, Swakya Nayaks, and Krishna Swarup as Madhurya Ras Nayak. So phenomenal. So many truths in there. Actually, every time, personally, I complete a chapter, as I've shared before, I just want to go back to the beginning of the chapter and read it through again, and again, and again. It's actually filled with divine nectar and beauty. It has a very powerful effect on the consciousness, just hearing these truths. So on Monday, we'll begin chapter 32. So, Jaiva Dharma ki jai, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gau Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Pavnibhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo.